I will let my good friend McKay take over with the introduction for tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks, Shane. Yeah, welcome everyone to our first episode of our podcast. This is something that Shane and I have wanted to do for the last little while. We've been talking about it, trying to get it all set up, and really just hoping that this whole thing would come together. We're hoping it will. We've been having some technical difficulties over the past little while, so bear with us as we get going through our first episode here. This is where we're going to be sorting out a little bit of the bugs while we kind of just chat and get the ball rolling here. So for those of you who don't know, our podcast For the Fans is going to be discussing the scoop, the stats, and the upcoming games in the National Football League. And our hope is that as this podcast grows in viewership, that we'll branch out into some other sports, particularly the NBA. But for us here at the beginning, let's just talk about the amazing sport of football and how this current 2019 through 2020 season of the NFL will play out. For those of you who are listening and tuning in amidst all the technical difficulties, thanks for joining us on this fun little experience we're starting out here. And so we're going to go here from the top and just kind of introduce ourselves, explain how we know each other, explain our love for football, and everything along those lines. I think just for the start here, I'm going to let Shane take the reins here for a bit and just give a quick explanation of, him and football and everything with that. So take it away, Shane.
Oh, I would love to. So, my name's Shane. I'm a simple man with simple life and a simple love for football. It's as easy as that. I honestly think football is just one of the coolest sports out there in the world today. I love the hard hits. I love just every second of it. I feel like it's with anticipation, careful planning, and hard work and dedication. I will say that my favorite team, which may come as a shock to most people, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I did not start this year with Minshew Mania, nor did I start when we went and had our playoff run with Blake Bortles at the helm in 2017. I started back when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, and my dad took me to a Jacksonville Jaguars football game. It was the first football game I remember, and I remember I was just sitting in the stands cheering the entire game as a little 6-year-old kid with the never-ending energy that a little toddler like me would have. And ever since then, I've been a die-hard Jaguars fan, keeping up every single game. I don't have everything to watch it all the time, unfortunately. Sometimes I get busy, sometimes I just don't have the access to it. But I watch all the highlights that I can, watch every little tweet, every little notification that I get about it. And honestly, I just love the team. I feel like nobody really has a big problem with Jacksonville Jaguars fans. They're all just like, why are you a Jaguars fan? And you're just like, oh, just because of this, and this. And like, oh, okay. And they can't say anything bad about our team. They can't say they hate us. They can't say that we're the best team in the world. We're just kind of there, having party, having fun, and kind of chilling with everybody.
Kind of an underrated team a lot of the time, too, don't you think, Shane?
Oh, I think that's one reason why I also love them, is because I also feel like that they're a little bit of a dark horse. But, I mean, we can talk about that a little bit later, because I will talk about them all night.
We don't have all night.
Why don't you take over and introduce yourself, McKay?
All right. So my name is McKay, and my interest for football really peaked sort of my time when I was in elementary school. It was actually when I watched my very first Super Bowl game, and it was funny because my favorite team, was playing in the Super Bowl that year. I am a Chicago Bears fan, and I watched the Super Bowl where it was Rex Grossman and Brian Urlacher heading up the offense and the defense when the Bears played the Colts in the Super Bowl. Yes, we lost. Rex Grossman's not a very good quarterback. Peyton Manning. Mistakes were made. Let's be honest. Mistakes get made a lot with the Chicago Bears, including when we drafted Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. But we don't need to go into that right now. It's a bit of a painful experience for me. But that was one of the reasons why I got into the Chicago Bears. Another reason was when I was a lot younger, I actually had the opportunity to meet Jim McMahon. For those who don't know, Jim McMahon was the quarterback for the Bears in 1985 when they won the Super Bowl. And while Jim McMahon may have not been the propelling force for their win, that would be more attributed on offense to Walter Payton as the running back, or to that unstoppable defense with players like Mike Singletary, William Perry, Richard Dent. I mean, you name it. It was a great defense, great year, great football team. my love for the Bears has stuck or has originated from that just because of my experiences with Jim McMahon, who to me appeared as a very personal, great guy at the age of 7. I know some people might have a differing opinion of that. He's a bit of a wild guy, but it was just a cool guy that stood out to me. And since then, the Bears have they've just been my team. And for me, I'm a bit of a wannabe sports analyst, so it's going to be great for me to talk about my team, talk about other teams, and really to discuss here with Shane on this podcast our thoughts, our feelings, and really how we feel as a fan base, how the National Football League is going right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is For the Fans, brought to you by the fans. So, I mean, we're not like your typical sports NFL analysts. We're trying to give you more of the fans' perspective, how everyone else in the NFL kind of feels like, instead of just kind of... Because sometimes I feel like with NFL talk shows and everything, they're just kind of like giving you the same predictable thing. For the most part, I look at power rankings and like I feel like every single week, even if the Patriots lose the game, they're still the number one team to beat. And I'm like, how? They just lost to like a team that's like 3-4, if that were to ever happen. How are they still ranked number one when there's another team that's like completely undefeated? To me, it doesn't make sense. So kind of like we're going to give our perspective of it and kind of give you guys like how most fans probably feel, or just in general. And we're also like welcome to hearing all of you guys, like either chatting in, anything else. That way we can kind of build this community around you guys and around us and kind of get a big giant fan base to talk about the NFL all together, because I honestly think it's one of the most fun things to do.
And understand that, Shane and I, like we've kind of talked about, we're like wannabe analysts. We understand that we're not perfect. We're not going to yell in your face if you offer suggestions or you disagree with us, because the thing is you may have a better opinion or a better vision on it than we may. We're not Booger McFarland. We're not Tony Romo. We're not going to make these insane predictions like he does. We're not Stephen A. Smith, and we're going to yell at you and say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, until we're blue in the face.
We're like the refs of the NFL, where we will make bad calls at times.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good way of putting it, Shane, huh?
Well, I mean, everyone has a bone to pick with the refs. Might as well pretend to be them.
Very true. It's very, very true. But unfortunately, we can't be the refs. Instead, all we can do is just express our disappointment in the refs and in maybe how our team played the week. You never know.
Oh, some weeks it makes me want to cry, and then some weeks I'm just like, we're the best team in the world, come fight us.
And that's probably how a lot of fans feel, right, Shane?
Oh, definitely. Definitely all the time.
Yeah, so this is just giving us that opportunity to really just discuss as a giant fan base how we feel about the NFL, some of the current issues that are going on, how the teams are playing, how the players are doing. Do the players have too much power? Do the coaches have too much power? Do the refs have too much power?
Of course the refs do.
We're going to examine all that here. We should probably explain, though, before we really get into the meat of our message here. Shane, you want to explain to them how we know each other?
So, me and McKay actually, we went on church mission together to Alberta, Canada, and we actually never, lived together for a little bit, but we hung out a good amount. We spent a lot of time, and we honestly just bonded over our love of football, and we kept in touch, and we just always would trash talk each other every single week between Bears and Jaguars. Especially, remember when we had the 1 week we found out that the Bears and the Jaguars were playing against each other?
I do remember that.
Oh man, that was a fun but heated week, and we were just constantly checking. We're like, "What's the score? What's the score?" That was a fun time.
If I remember correctly, the Jaguars won, didn't they?
I think the Jaguars did win, but it was by maybe 2 or 3 points. It was very, very close.
Both our teams were not doing well.
But yeah, we kind of just served. We kind of lived. We're close to each other, and then we just kept in contact throughout the years and just kept talking about football basically anytime NFL time rolls around.
Yeah, it's true. Before this podcast got started, a lot of the time we were just texting back and forth and giving our opinions on this game, how that play went down, what the decision was with that player. That happened a lot during the offseason too, especially with the whole Antonio Brown thing.
We'll talk about that one later because that's going to be a big topic.
Yeah, we will. So, anyway, going into it now, we're going to explain some of the items that we're going to be discussing each week. And then, while we're going to be talking a lot about just all the upcoming games and some of the things that are associated with that, whether it's the scores, some of the different matchups, we're going to be doing a little bit of our own fun thing as well, which we'll explain at the very end. So, I'm just going to list them all really quickly. Our first thing that we're going to be doing is discussing like the highlights of the games from the most previous week. So we'll be going into that just a little bit, just to do a little recap review, and then we'll be discussing the upcoming games of the week, and that includes our personal predictions for each game. So the scores that are going to happen, what the matchups are going to be. Are there any potential upsets? We're going to discuss what we think the game of the week will be and why. We're going to talk about who the best player to watch each week will be, in our opinion. And that's in both a general sense and if it's related to your fantasy team. We call that section MVP for the week. And then we're going to go into what we call fans vote. That's just an opinion poll. We're going to reach out to you and see what your opinion is on a certain subject, whether it's who's the best at the position, who's the best team in each division, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. How does the playoffs picture look? And then at the very end, we're going to do something that we call For the Fun. And that is where we're going to have a discussion on a humorous topic to kind of conclude the podcast. And we'll kind of get into that, what some of our subjects are going to be. We're probably not going to do that on this go-around, but next episode, next week, we're going to get into it. And the subject next week is going to be pretty fun. We're going to be talking about the Madden curse. So it's going to be full of a lot of laughs.
Oh, yeah, the Madden curse. Is it real? Is it not? Well, you guys will have to tune in next week to find out about that.
Definitely.
Anyways.
We'll be discussing all that.
Why don't we kind of delve into the main meat of this now? Alright, what's the first thing you want to discuss, McKay? Where do you want to take us?
Let's discuss this last week. Let's talk about some of the games that were played and just overall how it looked. Does that sound good?
I think that sounds terrific. You want to start with the first game of the week, which was Chiefs versus Broncos?
Yeah, let's do that, because there's actually a big thing that we need to talk about with that game, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I think I'm confident I know what you're talking about, because I'm pretty sure I sent you a meme of it.
Yep, a little QB sneak that turned into the defending MVP busting his knee.
Yep, turned Kermit the Frog into roadkill, and it was kind of sad. In all honesty, Pat Mahomes, I am 99% without a doubt will say he is probably the best quarterback in the league right now. Him and probably Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah. Aaron Rodgers had a big week as well.
But let's go off the Chiefs and Broncos games first, because we can dive into the other games later. Chiefs absolutely dominated the Broncos this week, even with losing Mahomes, which was baffling. I don't think anybody expected Mahomes to go down.
Why do you keep calling him Mahomes? It's Mahomes.
Well, I like Mahomes, but I'll do Mahomes. It sounds better, I guess.
It's throwing me off. I'm not gonna lie, it's throwing me off. Okay. All right. So, so with that, why do you think it was like? My biggest question is they were going into Mile High Stadium, and I understand that the Chiefs have an amazing offense. But they have what I would call a subpar defense. Wouldn't you agree, Shane?
I would say it's probably a little bit below average or about average, but nothing like phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, because it's kind of been my opinion that they're just meh. It's a defense that needs some work, and they know that. They know that it needs some work, I feel like. And I was expecting... Now, I understand this might sound like a lot to ask from the Broncos, but I feel like... I feel like this might be a lot to ask, because I know that Joe Flacco was not this amazing quarterback, and I understand that they're still trying to get used to things. Vic Fangio is the head coach this year, and he's probably got John Elway on his tail all over the place. But are we surprised by the low score that happened in that game, for at least on the Broncos side?
It's crazy because I want to say yes for the main reason. Yes, the Broncos have been doing absolute garbage. I don't think they've won. No, they've won 2 games, but they were okay, and then it just felt like they were getting better and better and better, and like coming close to winning some games, and then they just crashed and burned this week. I don't really know what happened to them this week. Even with Patrick being out and down, I mean, I just want to say he had a good game for that short time that he was in. 10 for 11 for 76 yards and 1 touchdown. Dude was on fire before he got taken out. But
Agreed.
even with the backup coming in, to get that score and to be that dominant both on the offense and on the defensive side of the ball, because I mean, I'm just looking at how many stats the Chiefs defense wrapped up on the Broncos. And I mean, there's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Flacco was like a human blender in there.
Oh, and that's the biggest thing that I watched is, man, they were able to get in there and sack him. I don't feel like the Broncos O-line was prepared for the blitz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really just don't think the Broncos came into this week prepared and ready like what I've been seeing that they've been trying to do so much harder. It feels like they went 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back.
That is definitely a good way of putting it. And may I just add, going into this week, they're going to be playing the Colts. Now, I understand that Andrew Luck is retired, but look at Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby! Oh my goodness. So, this is big for me because AFC South, everyone's fighting, everyone's clawing at it right now. Everyone's within like 1 game of being tied with each other all across. Texans and the Colts. I honestly was putting my money on the Texans in this game, but man, did Jacoby Brissett and the Colts show up and kind of held the Texans down more than I thought they would and kind of took control of the game.
And we were also expecting a few weeks ago when the Colts played the Chiefs for the Chiefs to come up on top, and because they were undefeated at the time, and look what the Colts did to them. That was a surprise.
Yeah, Colts are starting to get on a little bit of a tear, and I mean, if they keep this pace up, they could easily get into the playoffs and potentially make it to, I don't know if I would say the championship game, but the game right before the championship game, and it would be pretty close.
It could possibly be a dark horse going into this playoffs.
Oh, definitely.
We're getting a little bit off track here. Let's go back to the other games really quick. I think to bring up at least, that the Broncos need to be prepared. They fell to the Chiefs. They can't let up on either their offense or the defense because now they're playing the Colts. So
the Broncos
just putting that out.
I think the Broncos have have a few hard games ahead of them just with having dealt with the Chiefs this past week and kind of left on a sour note on that one. And then just seeing what the Colts have done to the Chiefs not too long ago and what they just did to the Texans. The Broncos are going to have to definitely make some big adjustments in order to stop them.
Right, agreed, for sure. All right, let's try and go through this really quickly here, just from the other games that happened on Sunday, along with the Monday Night Football showcase. So I guess I'll just name off what the matchup was. Shane, you let me know if it was a surprise what the score was and maybe some of the thoughts on that, and we'll just go with that. Does that sound okay?
Sounds great.
Okay, Rams and Falcons, 37-10 Rams. Surprise? Not a surprise?
Not really surprised. The thing that surprised me most and that kind of bummed me out is that I had Matt Ryan starting for my fantasy that week, and he went down really early on, and I think that's what ultimately put the Falcons just way behind. I mean, I kind of predicted the Rams to win it overall, but to be by that score is a little bit more surprising.
I feel like, and this will be interesting coming from you, Shane, as a Jaguars fan, a lot of people were saying that Jalen Ramsey was kind of the defibrillator for the Rams panicking with their season. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we're back. How do you feel about that?
I mean, in all honesty, Ramsey is a playmaker. Ramsey, he loves to play a man coverage, and he's going to line up perfectly with the Rams defense just doing that. But you also got to look who he was covering. I think he was covering, Julio Jones? And Julio Jones is honestly, I think, one of the best receivers in the league right now. And he may be one of the better cornerbacks in the league, but at the same time, best going against best is always going to be an interesting matchup to see who comes down with it more and who's more prepared. Ramsey was coming off of a back injury or a supposed back injury. I don't really know the full story on that because I also saw something saying that he was cleared to play for the Jaguars and he chose not to, so some of it could have been personal, some of it could have just been his back wasn't really feeling all that great some days, but I mean, he could still be recovering, but at the same time, could just be a little rusty from not having played in a couple of weeks.
I think that's a good way of putting it. I think the last thing that we need to say before we move on to the next matchup from this previous week is do not go one-on-one with Aaron Donald. You will lose.
Oh man, he destroyed people in that game.
I was specifically talking about the fight that almost broke out.
Oh yeah.
Don't throw a punch at Aaron Donald. He'll lift you up, and oh man, that was crazy.
Never mess with the lineman. That's what my parents always told me. It's like, hey, you mess with the lineman, be prepared to be thrown to the ground.
Definitely. Okay, AFC East matchup: Dolphins versus Bills. Are we surprised?
Surprised the Dolphins did that well, considering that the Bills have only one loss, and they were within one score of beating the Patriots, who are currently undefeated and the Super Bowl reigning champions. I'm honestly surprised that the Dolphins were able to do that well against a good Bills team.
I agree. It was a bit of a surprise. Hopefully, I don't know if I want to say that was just more attributed to faults on Buffalo's side, or if it was all of a sudden the Dolphins were waking up a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to have to see with this next week.
I would mainly say it's also because divisional rivals, they usually come a little bit prepared with their rivals on knowing what to expect and who to account for.
Sure. And Shane, do you agree with the Dolphins' assessment? Should they continue to have Ryan Fitzpatrick as the quarterback over Josh Rosen?
I mean, personally, I feel like they need to get a new quarterback either way. Fitzmagic seemed to run out pretty fast last year. Rosen hasn't seemed to do too terribly much this year. All in all, it just kind of seems like everything in Miami is kind of a mess right now. They traded out a lot of their starting players and just feel like it's a train wreck, and they're just kind of eyeing that number one overall draft pick at the moment.
It almost seems just like Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen. They're just a little. I feel bad actually a little bit for Josh Rosen because he was with the Cardinals and he got to start over Sam Bradford, and then he didn't do well. Obviously, the Cardinals got the number one draft pick, and then the Cardinals said goodbye, Josh Rosen. We're taking Kyler Murray, and I feel like in the case of the Dolphins, and a lot of people will probably agree with me on this. They're going to during the draft next year, they're going to say goodbye, Josh Rosen. Once again, we're taking Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, it's just the guy can't catch a break.
I mean, personally, I don't think the Cardinals should have booted out Rosen that fast as they did. And I don't think the Dolphins should either, even if they take Tua. I think the Dolphins would be good holding on to Rosen for now and seeing how he develops in a couple of years.
It's possible. That's a good assessment. I like that.
Because young quarterbacks still have time to learn and develop, but older quarterbacks like Fitzpatrick, they're starting to slow down a little bit and not have as much in the tank, whereas Rosen still has the opportunity to be kind of molded into a special kind of quarterback, the quarterback a team's looking for, or he could even be like a fairly solid backup.
Right, for sure. It's only his second year, so we'll cut him a little bit of slack, right?
Yeah, and plus two backups taking over the quarterback position is not the prettiest picture in my mind, personally.
Sure. Okay, we'll do speed round really quickly here. I'm just going to name off all the other matchups, and you just tell me, was it a surprise or was it not a surprise? What the end was. Okay, so this was your game. Jaguars versus Bengals, 27-17 Jaguars. Surprise? Not a surprise?
Man, you made me want to talk about this one a lot now. I'm going to say a little bit surprised. Not surprised that we won, but surprised on how close that game was all the way up until the second half.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, or should we keep going?
I got to. It's my team. I got to stand by them. I got to stick up for them.
All right.
First half was so crazy. We got in so far. We had all the yards. We were holding the Bengals to almost no yards, but the score was tied the entire time. And then the Bengals took the lead. I'm like, how? We're dominating with time and possession. We had the more run yards. We had more passing yards. I'm like, we have more everything. Why are we losing? But then all of a sudden, in the second half, the defense decided to fire it up and go all cylinders. And I think they came away with 3 or 4 pits, and one was a pit six by Miles Jack, which, oh my goodness, I think that's what really changed the tone for the Jaguars offense.
Hmm.
was just the defense coming up strong. They were feeding into each other and just feeling each other's fires, and that's why I think knocked the Bengals out of that competition.
Sure. Yeah, and once again, it leaves the Bengals without a game that they've won yet.
It's very true. Hopefully they'll win at least one, because I feel bad for anyone that goes 0-16.
2008 Lions and what was it? 2017 Browns. Yikes.
Yeah, those were rough years for both those teams.
Most definitely, most definitely. All right, next game, NFC North division matchup: Vikings versus Lions. With the Vikings coming out on top. Man, the Lions got so close on that one.
They did. But you know what? Know something? I honestly say I'm not going to be too surprised on this one.
Yeah, I think I think Kirk Cousins is starting to wake up. He's becoming a lot better of a player than we've seen in him for the last little while. He's realized what he really needs to do. And the Vikings still have like a good rest of the team. You know, they have two amazing receivers in Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, even though Thielen did go down in this game.
Sure.
And I think it was just enough. Even though Matthew Stafford is seeming to be a little bit better this year than years past, it just wasn't enough.
It just wasn't enough to get the job done, but like I said, not too surprised here with this matchup.
Definitely. Next game, Packers and Raiders. I mean, this is obviously not a surprise. I think the only thing we need to mention here is what a game for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no surprise, but Aaron Rodgers, holy cow, he had some yardage that day.
And I have to say, I have to say, this is very, very hard to come out of my mouth. But you and I have talked about this before. As much as I love the Bears, I have a lot of respect for Aaron Rodgers. He is, he made a nightmare.
I feel like it's hard not to respect him. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Brady. You heard it here. Not the biggest fan. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't think he's a phenomenal quarterback. It's just personally, I think Rodgers is more fun to watch.
And it's great. I agree with that. He is more fun to watch than Tom Brady. And I think it's kind of great for him to kind of just see this, like, oh, he's kind of getting back into his zone after missing out on the playoffs for 2 years, having a new coach and Matt LaFleur, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Packers, continue to go through this season. I mean, you hear it here again. You heard it out of the mouth of a Bears fan. I think the Packers are going to take the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Oh, I can definitely see it. I mean, if you just look at the completion with the yardage that he threw that night, 25 completions for 420 yards with 5 touchdowns. That's a little over 17 yards a catch. That's pretty dominant.
And without Devontae Adams.
It's true. I didn't even think of that. That just blows me away. I think Rodgers had a good day.
I agree, definitely. And I mean, I understand that the Raiders aren't this amazing team, but Gruden's Grinders, they've been able to, put on a show a little bit this season. And even then, just they couldn't stop the Packers.
No, I just don't think they had enough in them to stop the Packers this week.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Texans and Colts. We actually kind of talked about that game already a little bit. We were a little bit surprised that the Colts won, but hey, still, great game. I mean, and what an amazing catch that happened during that game, too. That was probably one of the catches of the year, if you ask me.
Probably. I mean, I don't really have anything more to input on that just because we talked about it a little bit, but honestly, good game to watch. Probably one of the better games of the week.
Sure, definitely. Cardinals and Giants. Cardinals have won 3 in a row. What's going on here?
I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, it looks like Kyler Murray is starting to figure out the system a little bit, but I still don't think his numbers are super, super impressive to call him elite or even a blessing for the Cardinals. But the Cardinals are starting to put a few things together. I mean, Chase Edmonds with rushing, he is tearing it up for the Cardinals that night.
I'm also going to say this too. I think the answer to that question of Cardinals, you won 3 in a row, what's going on? They've played 3 really awful teams in the past few weeks. But hey, you know what? A win is a win for the Arizona Cardinals, and they're probably going to take anything that they can get after a disappointing season last year.
They want to keep some fans, and they want to keep some momentum going. I mean, we can talk about weak schedule and strong schedules, but we can save that for later.
For sure. Next game, 49ers and Redskins. Man, the final score was 9-0. What a boring game.
That was honestly one of the most disappointing games, I think, of the week. Like, if
You
there
know,
was any game that you could miss, I would probably say it was the 49ers and Redskins game.
a win is a win for the 49ers. They are still undefeated, but man, was I expecting more. Not even a single touchdown.
I mean, coming from an undefeated team facing a 1-6 team, you would
Mhm.
imagine that the score would be a lot more lopsided. But I honestly think something that could have happened is that the 49ers could have gone in there a little bit cocky, thinking, oh, we have an easier week facing the Redskins who've only won one game. We should have almost no problem. I think they were just came in a little bit too cocky and a little bit too arrogant to really take the Redskins for what they're at.
I think that's a very fair assessment, Shane. You got a good point there. So that caps off our 11 o'clock games. Let's move into the afternoon games. First one, Chargers and Titans. Okay, what happened on that final drive? What? I'm still like a little confused over that. Like the Chargers won the game twice and then they lost. Like what?
Man, I don't know. Me personally, I don't like the Titans because they're one of our rivals, and they always seem to beat my Jaguars somehow every year. We will be the better team everywhere, and yet somehow the Titans will win. I honestly just want to kind of chalk this one up into another Titan miracle. Somewhere down the road, something happened where everything just worked out for them.
Sure. I mean, there was a definitely. I mean, I understand that with the Chargers, with the two times that they did bring in a touchdown, it was called back. There were issues, there were penalties, that sort of thing. But I mean, man, what a surprise for that game. I mean, I thought towards the end, man, Los Angeles had it, and I mean, that's got to be so disappointing for Chargers fans.
Yeah, the question is now with Chiefs kind of running away with the AFC West for the most part. Where does that leave the Chargers now? Do they just kind of sit tight, or do they just keep trying to push ahead?
We can kind of talk about that too as we get closer, with trade starting to happen and everything like that, because there's still a little bit of a rumor going in there that Melvin Gordon is going to go and that he could go to another team. And we'll just have to see if that is going to make or break the Chargers. We'll really have to just wait and see what happens there.
I mean, it looks like the Chargers didn't really need him too much against the Titans. I mean, he was kind of severely underutilized by the whole team. I mean, receiving, Melvin Gordon had negative 3 yards for receiving, but he did have one of the touchdowns, which is a plus. But he also
True.
came up with not terribly many yards. Like, I honestly expected him to come out with more yards in the running game.
And speaking of lack of running game, moving on here, Saints versus Bears. The Bears, they hardly ever touched the running game in that game in Soldier Field on Sunday. And that ended up being 36-25. Saints, Teddy Bridgewater going undefeated in his stint while taking over for Drew Brees. Man.
I'm letting you take over this one because this is your team. This is where you get to shine. You know everything. You can tell them everything that you're upset about.
I mean, where do I begin? I mean, here's the thing: is I understand that this is Mitchell Trubisky coming off of an injury, and he's been very lackluster this entire season when it comes to his performance. But I mean, I just feel like there were so many mistakes all over the place, whether it's from the play calls, from Matt Nagy, if it was, even, at the very beginning, the safety that resulted from the screw up on the Bears special teams. The lack of the running game was definitely a big one. I feel like the only silver lining for that Bears game was that insane return by Cordell Patterson that, he brought it to the house, full field running. I mean, it was just it was impressive, but it didn't really. I felt like that was the only shining moment for the Bears in that loss on Sunday. Whereas for the rest of the time, it was just Saints D was just throwing Trubisky to the floor, just making him look like a fool. He was making himself look like a fool. So
I'm curious about this. What do you think about the Bears' decision to have Trubisky throw for 54 times? Like, 54 times in one game. That is absurd of how many times he was throwing the ball. Like, almost every play it felt like they were throwing the ball instead of running it or mixing things up. It just felt like, oh, he's going to try to throw it again. Let's get him.
This is my opinion, and I could be completely wrong here. I mean, we talked about this at the very beginning. If we're wrong, we're wrong. Fine. This is just my opinion. Don't shoot me here. But I feel like this is Matt Nagy's attempt to kind of pump up Trubisky's confidence. Trubisky coming down after a couple of weeks being injured in that Minnesota Vikings game, and he's been quite the lightning rod in the Chicago Bears fan base. You know, a lot of fans really don't like him. I'm honestly not a huge fan of him. And I feel like that was Nagy's way of kind of like saying, okay, Trubisky, let's get this. Let's see if you can do it. Let's see if you can pull it off. And unfortunately, it wasn't coming together. And I don't really understand why that was the only method of us trying to do any offense there. I mean, I understand that our running game is a little bit
lackluster.
I understand David Montgomery's a rookie. Tariq Cohen is really small, and I understand that the Saints defense is really, really good. But to the fact that you did it so minimally in a game like that, when it was very clear the pass game was not working, it boggles my mind.
So would you say that Trubisky is another Jay Cutler?
Oh, I say he's a sober Blake Bortles. That's just
Ouch! Oh man, that one stung a bit.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Take all the jabs you can get. Question is, do you think the Bears are going to hold on to Trubisky, or do you think they're going to try to find a replacement as soon as possible?
I mean, what can you do, Shane? I mean, he's a former number 2 pick, and it's sort of a thing of just, you know, are they? I really don't know what Ryan Pace is planning on doing here, and I know that Trubisky has a great working relationship in the locker room with every member on that team. They love his leadership. It just has to be so disappointing for them that, you know, they love Trubisky as a leader, but he's just an awful quarterback, an awful play caller. Or it's not, excuse me, not play caller, signal caller. Yeah.
So do you think that you guys will hold on to him and look for his replacement and potentially use him as a backup, or ship him out somewhere else?
I feel like eventually we will probably ship him out. I obviously can't say that it's this season. It might not even be the next season. I think we might be stuck with him for a little bit longer. But I know that eventually there's going to be some pressure, whether it's from fans or from the ownership. Well, I don't know about the ownership. I don't know. But there's going to be some pressure eventually to get him out of there, similar to how it was with Jay Cutler. And then we're just kind of just left with, okay, who are we going to get? Because I feel like he's going to go sooner than Chase Daniel will. I understand. Let me make this clear. I don't believe that Chase Daniel is better than Mitchell Trubisky. It's just Chase Daniel is a backup quarterback. He plays like a backup quarterback. Trubisky, we're not even getting into it. Let's move on. I'm gonna have a coronary here. This is bad.
All right, let's move on before things get too heated down in the Chicago town.
We'll keep coming back to this as time goes on. That clearly, you know, I have some issues when it comes to Chicago's offense, as all Chicago Bears fans do right now.
All right, what game do you want to move on to next?
Oh, we got the last three. We got Ravens and Seahawks. Russell Wilson throwing his first interception in over 200 games or something like that.
Something like that.
It can't be 200 games, but yeah, you know where I'm going with this. I can't remember that specifically, but it was a bit of a surprise, especially too that Lamar Jackson and his Ravens. I mean, they got the win over the Birds, and it was. The
thing that surprises me about that, if you look at Lamar Jackson's stats, and I'm just going to show everyone real quick. Look at his passing and look at his running. 9 for 20 for passing for 143 yards. Carries, 14 carries for 116 yards. Was he playing more of a running back that game, or was he actually the quarterback that game? Because in all honesty, it looks like they could have thrown anybody in the quarterback position. It wouldn't matter that night.
Yeah, you got a point. I don't know. Lamar Jackson, I feel like he's evolved into just this amazing player this season, and I mean it's a two-way street with him. You mean you never know. He could go for the rushing, he could go for the passing. I mean, it's Baltimore's got it great right now, and that's why I feel like, you know, Baltimore's definitely got it in for. They're going to have the top seed in the AFC North, and it's a lot of it is stemming from Lamar Jackson as a great quarterback.
In all honesty, I think it's just hard for coaches to plan for him because you never know if is he going to have a phenomenal night just in the air, or is he going to just take it to the ground and be on the ground all night? And I think against the Seahawks, who, in all honesty, going into that game, those two teams were pretty even, and Russell Wilson's looking like he's going to be an MVP candidate. Lamar Jackson tore it up on the ground game and kind of left the air game alone, which I think kind of confused the Seahawks a little bit.
I would agree with that. That is a fair assessment. Eagles and Cowboys. What do we have to say about this NFC East matchup?
Oh, man. I mean, deep down, I think we all know what we were hoping for, which was the Cowboys to lose. But the Eagles did not do what they were hoping to do that night, coming in even in the standings, and with the chance to still push for the playoffs, and the Eagles just dropped the ball.
Let me just say this. The Eagles secondary is a mess. It's just... What else can I say about the Eagles? I feel like Carson Wentz is not performing the way we expect him to. I feel like there is a lot to still be desired when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles as a team this year. It's sort of this thing where it's like we see these moments of greatness with them. They perform great against the Green Bay Packers and hand them their only loss of the season so far. But then we have these moments where they play against the Lions or they play against the Cowboys and everything just seems to self-destruct. Understand, I am not saying here that this win is a direct result of how great the Cowboys are as a team. Now, because I have mixed feelings about Dak Prescott, and I have mixed feelings about Ezekiel Elliott as well, although I won't deny that they have talent. But I am handing this more to the fact that the Eagles messed up than to the fact that the Cowboys just tore it up. I'm sorry, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, I would agree with you. I mean, fighting for the lead for the NFC East, and so what's really interesting is that Nick Foles recently was obtained by my team, was the Super Bowl MVP. Yes, Carson Wentz did take the most of the way there to the playoffs, but Nick Foles went to the playoffs, carried them through the playoffs, and beat Brady in the Super Bowl. They ship him out. Do you think that they're starting to regret shipping Foles out and keeping Wentz, or do you think that they're happy with keeping Wentz and getting rid of Foles?
I want to add that on top of that, Shane, but remember, too, that last season as well, the Eagles were struggling, and then Carson goes out again. They bring Nick Foles back in. They start getting wins. They go to the playoffs. With Nick Foles, they beat the Chicago Bears with a double doink. And then, I mean, yes, they lost to the Saints. But again, a lot of that comes from Nick Foles. Do I think that Eagles fans are regretting that? I don't know. I want to say yes, but I also want to say no, because I feel like a lot of people are saying, well, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. They can still do it. Carson Wentz can still deliver. I really don't think we're going to get an answer to that question until Nick Foles comes back in and starts for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and if he throws down. Do you understand what I'm saying with that?
Oh, I understand, but the big question between that debate is, does Foles come back in and start for the Jaguars with Minshew doing phenomenal as a rookie player with a bad defensive line? I mean, in all honesty, the Eagles, I think they are good with Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz has the potential to be a good quarterback, but there's something not clicking right now with that Eagles offense, and it's starting to show a little bit.
I would definitely agree. I think it's also, it more stems from the Eagles' defense. I think the defense is what the biggest struggle is for the Eagles. But, I mean, hey, we'll just have to keep seeing how this season goes.
Yeah, I just hope. Me personally, nothing against Cowboys fans per se. It's just so much fun to hate on the Cowboys. It's just so fun and easy.
We would be good friends with Stephen A. Smith, wouldn't we?
Oh, man. Thing is, I used to have a Cowboys roommate. Got along with him great, but I still don't like the Cowboys.
Yeah, I get that. I dated a girl who was a Cowboys fan. That was interesting.
Oh, but I think we have probably one of the most hated teams in the NFL coming up for our last game, that Monday night game that was a blowout.
Okay, I'm just going to go through this really quick so we can move on to our next spot. Patriots and Jets, 33-0. Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts. It's Halloween time. I only watched that game so I could watch the Star Wars trailer. Let's move on.
Well, I mean, Sam Darnold throwing 4 interceptions in that one game, even though the other week he had a stellar performance. And
Mhm.
Brady was Brady, but he did throw an interception. So are we seeing the end of the Brady era is my question, because I've been kind of keeping an eye on him. He's not that superstar that everyone was thinking that he was. I feel like he's starting to decline. He's starting to decline rapidly, kind of like how Peyton Manning did. And man, I will say, Peyton Manning, loved him. One of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. Hated playing him twice a year. Hated so long until he got to the Broncos. But when he got to the Broncos, he had that rapid decline.
Mhm.
Do you think we're seeing that with Tom Brady as well?
In answer to your question about Peyton Manning, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, we can talk about that there was an obvious. I'm just looking in the two cases of where the Broncos went to the Super Bowl. The first of which being how there was a clear malfunction on the offense, which led to that just huge blowout win that the Seahawks didn't capturing their first Super Bowl. And then when the Broncos did win that Super Bowl, you have to attribute that more to Von Miller and his defense than you do attribute to
Peyton
Peyton
Manning.
Manning and his work on offense. In the case of Tom Brady, you know what, Shane? I'm going to leave this up to the fans. This is going to be our fans vote for this week, our opinion poll. Do we think that Tom Brady is declining? Do we think that this might be Brady's last year, and then we're just going to kind of see what happens to the Patriots after that? Do we think that that is going to be? Do we think that this is all coming to an end, this Patriots dynasty? Do we think that Brady's not as good as he is anymore? Should we leave it up to them?
I think we can leave it up to them, but we can also add our own little input on it. Personally, I think we are seeing what happened with Peyton Manning his last season with the Broncos. The Patriots defense is good. They are scary
Agreed.
good this year. I think Brady's
Mm-hmm.
getting carried pretty heavily by that Patriots defense. And in all honesty, I feel like everyone's just so attuned with Brady, sits, reigns, Mr. Goat, whatever you want to call him. But I think people are overlooking the fact that his defense is doing so well. Oh, and we do have a comment from Duckmaster. Hey, dude, how you doing? He says, yes, but as long as Belichick coaches, Patriots will continue to dominate, especially with defense on the rise. I mean, I can't necessarily disagree with that, but I really hope that isn't true just because I want to see the end of the Patriots dynasty. I want to see it end so bad.
No, I think Doug has a point that that. Okay, don't get me wrong. Don't Patriots fans don't hate on me for saying that Brady's not good, because Brady is really good. But the master of it all is Mr. Bill Belichick.
Oh,
He is able to just bring that team and just show just how amazing that Patriots team is. You're right. The Patriots defense is amazing. They're the best in the NFL right now. Gilmore, Chugs. I mean, it's good. It's a really good defense. And may I also add that the Patriots have no shortage of receivers, whether it's Edelman or White or Gordon or Dorsett or Burkett. I mean,
or now
there's so many that we
Sanu.
can name there. What was
Don't
that? Sorry.
forget it. Sanu just got added to that All-Star roster of
You're exactly right.
receivers
Mohamed Sanu,
with,
he's in there as well. So I
and
think
I think another fun thing to talk about, the very end of the Patriots and Jets game, with Belichick purposely going out of his ways to commit penalties.
with delay of game, and yeah, you're right. False start. Oh my goodness.
But thing is, he was doing that solely to run out the clock. That was the only reason he was doing those things, was solely to run out the clock.
And that's one thing that we have to add too. No one is better at mastering that game clock than Tom Brady and Bill Belichick as a duo.
Oh man. In all honesty, Bill Belichick, as much as I want to say I hate him, he is a phenomenal coach.
I agree. He is going to be one of the greats going down the future, up there with Lombardi, everyone else like that. He is an amazing coach for sure.
But man, I
We
mean
didn't want to
that's
talk that much about the Patriots, but we did.
well, when you hate a team, you gotta give them the respect they deserve as well when they earn it.
It's interesting. I'm not going to say that I hate the Patriots as a team. I hate that they're so good, but I still have a lot of respect for that team. I have a lot of respect for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
I
I just
think
hate that they win so much and Chicago doesn't. Let's
I
just leave it at that.
I respect them. I think I just hate Patriots fans because I know 95% of Patriots fans are only Patriots fans because they've won so much as of late. That's the only reason that they are fans of them. I think that's the only reason I don't like the Patriots is because their fan base is literally just people who are like, my team's the team that's winning this year. And they don't really have any loyalty, which, as a true NFL fan, like, I understand, like, some people will swap teams every now and then in their life just because either the team moves or the team changes names. I mean, there was the Oilers at one point who moved out, and then
Mhm.
Chargers moved from San Diego to LA, and a lot of people weren't happy about that.
Mhm.
But I'm just going to leave it there. I'm like, there's not much more to say on that.
Mhm. For sure. Patriots are good. Let's just leave it at that. And if you're a Patriots fan, go ahead and direct all your hate at Shane.
Oh,
Let's just
please
leave it
do. I will answer the messages personally with as much love and respect as I can, but there probably won't be that much love.
Cowboys fans, you can do that for me. All right. Let's just go in really quick, talk about these upcoming games this week. Let's just give our score predictions for each game as we go along, and then we'll kind of talk about it if we want to go on it for a little longer. Does that sound good?
Sound good. First game tomorrow is Redskins versus Vikings. This one's going to be an interesting one, I think.
How do you say that?
I say that for the sole reason they just held the 49ers to 9 points who are undefeated. Maybe they're coming in a little hungry for that one win that they for another win against the Vikings this week. But I mean, I think the Vikings are still going to pull it out. As for the score, I'm going to say it's probably like I'll say like 27-14 maybe.
Okay. For me, 32-14. Sorry, Washington. I'll believe it when I see it.
All right.
Moving on. Chargers and Bears. How are we looking at that?
Oh, I mean, let's get your take first. Let's get the Bears fandom out of the way first.
Ooh, I want to be so negative about this. I sound like a real Bears fan when I do that. I sound like what's coming out of my mouth here? I'm being so negative about my team. No, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm saying that Chicago's going to pull it out this week. It's going to be a bit of a revenge game, but I still think it's going to be close. So I'm going to say the final score 24-20 Chicago.
Ooh, I think we're in the same way. I think it might be a little bit closer. I think it might be like within 3 points of each other.
Okay.
And in all honesty, it's going to depend on how much Phillip Rivers and Austin Eckler show up and Melvin Gordon show up, and as well as the Bears defense showing up. I think that's
Agreed.
ultimately what it's going to come down to. I think the score is probably going to be like 20-17 with I want to say the Bears are going to take it. I think the defense is going to just barely be enough to beat the Chargers this week.
And that's what's going to have to depend on that, though, is yes, the Bears defense is good, but they get gassed after a while. And that's the biggest thing is we need the Bears offense to at least be able to hold on long enough to just give the defense a rest. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've been there. I've done that. I know how that feels.
All right. Next game, Battle of the Birds, Seahawks versus Falcons.
Oh, I'm going to say Seahawks on this one. Without a doubt. I don't even think it's going to be that close, especially with Matty Ice kind of coming off of an injury as of late. Not even sure if he's guaranteed to start this week. But I'm going to say Seahawks are going to take it. I'm going to make it at least a little close. I'm going to say it's about 28-14.
Oof, you're being generous.
Yeah, that was going to be make it a little close.
Sorry, Atlanta fans. 35-3.
Ooh, that's a bold prediction.
Very bold. We'll see if it comes true. Sound good?
That's true because Sanyu's no longer there, so that does take care of a threat. I might change my score rating a little bit. I'm gonna say the Falcons don't do that bad, but I'm gonna say it's probably gonna Seahawks are gonna stay at like 28. Falcons are probably gonna drop to like 10 now.
All right. We'll see what happens there. Eagles versus Bills. How's that looking?
Eagles versus Bills. You
Go
know,
with
in all
Buffalo.
honesty, I gotta say the Bills are gonna take it. Probably Eagles haven't been phenomenal, but I'm going to say it's probably about 32-20.
Well, I'm going to go for a little bit of a lower score, and I'm going to say it's like 20-14.
Ooh. You think the Eagles are going to be able to catch one up on the Bills?
I think it might be close, but I still think Buffalo's going to pull out.
All right.
Giants and Lions.
Oh, the Lions game? Oh, I'm going to say how confident do you feel in the Giants is my question.
Let me just preface this on my opinions of New York. I am glad that they made that decision to put Daniel Jones in and bench Eli Manning. I also love Saquon Barkley. I
Oh,
think
true.
he's awesome. But I think this is the Giants' week to make a breakthrough after losing to the Packers, and then the Vikings. I think this is going to be their week. Just again, take it back, and I think it will go to Detroit, and I think the final score is going to be, let's just go with 24-17.
Oh, you're having Detroit take it.
And
You know, like I agree with you. It's going to be a close game. I mean, both teams aren't doing phenomenal this year, but I think I'm going to go with the Giants this year. I think Saquon Berkeley is going to be enough to just barely edge it past the Lions. It's probably going to be a score of uh I'm going to say 20-17.
hey, you're keeping it close too, with the Giants coming out on top. I like it. I like it. We'll have to see what happens. Buccaneers and Titans. How's that sound?
Oh,
I feel like
sounds
that's going to be kind of
terrible.
I feel like that's going to be kind of a lame match. I'm a little bit bummed though that the Titans benched Mariota in favor of Ryan Tannehill, because I feel like this would be kind of a fun game to see how Mariota does against his buddy Jameis Winston. But
Oh, that would be interesting. Overall, though, uh, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like the Titans are going to push it past the Bucks. I don't know if it's going to be too close, but I feel like it's going to be one of those weeks where you feel like a game's going to be close, but ends up being lopsided on one way or the other. I'm going to say the Titans take it 28 to, let's say 13.
I'll go a little closer and say 20-13, with Tennessee taking the win.
All right.
Broncos and Colts. We touched on that earlier. What are you thinking?
Broncos and Colts. I mean, I'm sitting by the Colts all day on this one. I feel like they're probably one of the biggest threats in the AFC South right now. And honestly, I feel like the Broncos, they have some good days, they have some bad days. I think today's just not, they're going to have a good day, but it's not going to be enough to stop the Colts this week. I'll say 27-20.
Okay. Um, I'll definitely say, I agree with you. The Indianapolis will take the win here. Is it really bad that, I love Vic Fangio, and I wish that he had stayed with Chicago as our defensive coordinator. But it's really bad that I'm going to have to say that I don't believe in his defense that he has in Denver. And so with that, I'm going to have to go with a score like 24-10.
All right, I can respect that.
Bengals and Rams. This is going to be a blowout game, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah, I think the Rams are probably going to take it away. I'll say. See, I don't like giving big numbers because I always feel like I'm way off with big numbers, but I'm going to say. Let's do 30-10.
Oh, hey, we had linked minds there. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, really? Dang.
Right, let's go with that then. Say no more. Cardinals and Saints. Drew Brees is most likely coming back. We don't know for sure, but it seems to be that way.
I mean, if Breeze comes back, it's going to change my score, but overall, I think the Saints are going to take the win. I mean, Teddy's been taking over, and he's been unstoppable at the helm so far, just dominating. Cardinals, they got Kyler Murray. He's a rookie, still trying to figure out everything. I'm going to say the score is probably going to be like 35-10.
Okay. I agree with the high scoring that's going to come from New Orleans. I feel like the Cardinals will be able to get it a little bit closer, but not by much. I'm going to say 35-24.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like what's going to happen towards the end is the Saints are going to do what they did with Chicago earlier this week, where they're going to know they've sealed the win. They're going to get a little bored, take a little break. They're going to let the Cardinals catch up a little bit, but it won't be enough.
Well, that's true. I'm also taking into account that Saints have one of the better defenses this year. So, I mean, I guess we'll just see how they feel like playing. If they get a solid enough lead, do they ease it up or do they just keep going a little bit?
Right, right, definitely. Okay, how about your Jaguars versus the New York Jets?
Oh, man. Oh, man. I am hoping that Darnold has a week like he did last week, and that will hopefully be an easy win. The thing is, I think the Jaguars will come in with a little chip on their shoulder, thinking of they went against the Bengals last week. Bengals haven't won a single game. They knew they were hungry for a game, but they expected it to be an overall easy game. I'm thinking that they won't take that same mindset in with them with the Jets, and now that Ramsey's gone, they don't have that to worry about anymore. I honestly
Hmm.
think the defense gets enough push and the offensive line protects Minshew enough. I think the Jaguars are going to have a good day and be able to stop Darnold and be able to stop anything the Jets try to do. I will say the score is going to be, and I'm going to be a little bit biased because I love my boys. I'm going to say it's going to be 30-21.
Ooh, you put it up. You put it up as a bit of a higher score.
Yeah, I can see both teams scoring, but neither defense really doing a whole lot.
I don't mean to sound negative towards your team or to the Jets in general, but I'm going to go for a little bit of a lower score here.
I respect
Um,
it.
I still believe that Jacksonville is going to win, but I'm going to say the final score will be 17-10.
Ooh, that is pretty low.
Yep, that's just
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I,
primarily going off of the Bengals game. Like, it was a low scoring game all up to the first half, and Jaguars, for whatever reason, they never like to get ahead up in the front. They like to try to make everything come around and just take over the game in the second half, and I'm just counting those. Most of the points that I'm counting towards them is going to come from that second half.
agree. I agree for sure. All right. Moving on to our afternoon games. This is a big one. I'm looking forward to this game immensely. Panthers versus 49ers. What are you thinking about this one, Shane?
Oh man, see, I'm from North Carolina, so I hear Panther talk all day long. They were formed the same team as they were formed the same year as the Jaguars. I have a good buddy who's a diehard Panthers fan. 49ers have been undefeated, but Christian McCaffrey has been tearing up the NFL right now and has no team's really found a true answer to completely stop him in his tracks and to make him completely useless for the game. I honestly say I think this is going to be the week the 49ers lose their first game. I'm going to say the score is going to be close, though, with it probably being. Oh, let's go with 37-35.
Wow, you are keeping it close. All right. I agree with you. Honestly, I really do. They haven't, no one's really found an answer to Christian McCaffrey. And while the 49ers have been undefeated, I agree. I think that this will be the week that Carolina will take them down. And my score will be, my prediction will be a little bit lower, but I'm thinking the final score is going to be 28-24.
Well, yep, I can respect that. I mainly see the Panthers are also eyeing that spot for the NFC South title, and
Of
they are
course.
fighting for that playoff run, and they have a chance to get there. I don't know how good they'll do because with Cam Newton being out right now, is their backup good enough to take them all the way there? Because we've seen it done before with Foles, but is it going to happen? I would say we'll have to wait and see for that.
I agree. I agree. But I think you have a good point. I don't think that the Panthers, and I think they know that as well, that the NFC South title is going to be difficult for them with New Orleans playing the way they are. But they are going to work very, very hard to get that wild card seed, and I feel like they could definitely get it. It's possible. We'll just have to see.
Yep.
All right. How about the Browns and the Patriots?
Oh, I don't want to have to do this one. I'm pretty sure the Patriots are going to remain undefeated. I personally feel like they have one. I think they have like the second easiest schedule of the season this year, and they are I feel like getting teams that are just not doing all that great. I think the Patriots defense is going to shine. Belichick's going to manage the clock and tear at the Browns. I'm going to say, and with Mayfield not even doing too hot, I'm going to say his score is probably going to be like, it's going to be a little bit of a blowout. Not as bad as with the Jets, but probably 34 to, I don't know, 7.
Your prediction was a little bit close with mine. My prediction was 35-14. Obviously, with the Patriots coming out on top, I agree with you. Okay, Browns fans, go ahead, come after me. I think Baker Mayfield's overrated. Sorry, I do.
The Browns just can't get any look at QB lately.
And do I think that Baker Mayfield is better than some
Johnny
of the
Football.
other? What do you say? Sorry.
Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel.
Yes, I agree. He is much better than Manziel. And heck, I think he's better than Mitchell Trubisky. But you cannot say that Baker Mayfield is this amazing quarterback. No quarterback in the NFL has thrown as many interceptions as Baker Mayfield has a season. He is the quarterback in the NFL who has done the most of that this season. It's got to be embarrassing for him because he's a big talker, but he doesn't show it with his actions.
He showed it a little bit last season. Do you think he's just falling into a little bit of a slump, or do you think he's going to bounce back at all?
Oh, actually, to be honest, I think he might bounce back a little bit in his third year, but for right now, oh yeah, he's in a slump.
Yeah, it'll be hard, because, I feel like he has all the weapons there. He has Jarvis Landry, he has Odell Beckham, what more could you ask for with guys like that? But I think he's just going to hit a slump this year, and we'll just have to wait and see how he performs next year. I don't know if Browns fans are going to start wanting to replace him now, or hopefully he improves next season, but other than that, he might be getting shopped around after that point.
Let's say this last little thing about the Browns. I think maybe they should put a little bit more of a reliance on Nick Chubb than on Baker Mayfield as far as how to get the ball moving, but that's just me. I will leave it up to Freddie Kitchens.
I agree 110%.
Versus Texans. How's that looking?
Ooh, Raiders versus Texans. Personally, I think all of the AFC South teams, they're not the strongest teams in the world, but they're a pretty strong division. I think the Texans are going to win it. It's going to be a little close, but nothing for Texans fans to be concerned about, with the final score being 28-17 Texans.
Right. That's about on par with what I said. I'm just going to say some, no, I take that back. I'm going to say the same score as you, with the Texans coming out on top. I agree with you on that one.
All right.
Okay, here comes the game that I'm looking forward to the most, and that's the Sunday Night Football feature, and that's the Packers versus the Chiefs.
Oh, this is going to be a big one. Because Mahomes is out, right?
Yes.
Oh. Question is are the Chiefs good enough to stop Aaron Rodgers? As we've seen in the past, as we saw last season, Chiefs are a high-flying offense. They rely so much on their offense where they will just duel people out with their offense. Can they do that without Mahomes? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the Packers are going to take it. Chiefs defense are not going to be good enough, and as much as I hate to say it because I love the Chiefs, and I think they're a good team, Packers are probably going to win it. As for the gap with points, it's not going to be a blow-up, but it's not going to be super, super close. I'm going to say the final score is probably going to be about 35-24.
Okay. Yeah. Here's my one lamentation that I have about this game. Shane, can you imagine if Mahomes was playing against Aaron Rodgers in this game?
Oh.
Could you imagine what a scoring clinic would be put on?
I would say, if Mahomes was not injured, this would be the game. This would be the game that I would say, turn off everything, watch this game, because it is going to be one of the best games, potentially of the year, but definitely probably the best one of the week.
Sure. If Mahomes was in this game, I feel like we could have treated this game like the Chiefs playing the Rams last year.
Oh, and man, what a game that was. Just high octane
That was
offense.
A great game. Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, with this one, I'll give it to I'm gonna give it to the. I'm gonna give it to the Packers. It's hard again getting those words to come out of my mouth because I'm a Bears fan, but yeah, I'll just say it right here. Final score is going to be 30-24, in my opinion. I mean, I think that the Chiefs will be able to keep it a little bit close. I mean, their backup, what is his name, like Matt Moore or something like that. I think that he has the ability to kind of be a good quarterback and to be able to do enough on the team. He's obviously no Patrick Mahomes, but he is going to have he does have enough weapons, with Tyreek Hill. I can't remember if Sammy Watkins is going to be in or not, but I mean, he's good. Sean McCoy, Travis Kelce, I think he's got plenty of options here. So I think they'll keep it close. But once again, I feel like just Aaron Rodgers has enough to just bring it home.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Matt Moore, he's no Mahomes. We can all acknowledge that. But the score that he put up last week and the numbers he put up last week, he'll put up a fight.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right, and then let's just finish this off. We'll just keep this quick because the Monday night game is not what I would call just a game that you're dying to watch it. But it's the Miami Dolphins versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are going to get their third win in this game. Sorry, Dolphins, but oh man, I feel so bad for Pittsburgh fans this year. I mean, just that did not go well.
No,
this season didn't go anything like they were planning on.
And the sad thing is, and as a football fan, I say this with a little bit of bitterness in my mouth. Do something else on your Monday night. Don't sit around and watch this game.
It sounds so terrible to say because the Steelers, they're such a storied franchise. But I mean, talk about going just crashing and burning this last little while with Le'Veon Bell's holdout and him going to New York. I don't really think it's much of a loss, the Steelers losing Antonio Brown with the antics that he's been pulling recently.
But we can't deny that Brown was and is one of the best wide receivers.
I agree. I do agree.
Cannot deny that, but with the drama, I would say he did bring a little bit more harm than good all the time.
Agreed. And then on top of that, with Roethlisberger getting injured and then Rudolph getting concussed, it's just, Steelers fans, I am so sorry.
It's a train wreck, but I'm still going to say Steelers come out on top. It's going to be a rough game. It's going to be an ugly game. If you want to watch it just to see just to see it get a little bit of football in you, I'm still going to say the Steelers are going to take it. It's probably going to be a very slow dead game. I'm going to say it's probably going to be about 17-7.
I'm going to go with 28-14.
I can see that a little bit. I think it's going to be a little bit low, but I can definitely see it. If it goes high, it's going to go around there.
For sure. But hey, there we have it. We've managed to get through all the teams here. We've gotten through our predictions, and we'll just see if they come to light when we talk about this next week. We'll see if any of our predictions came right. Let's see if we're anything like Tony Romo and his predictions.
Although, I will say, what do you think the game of the week is going to be? And I'll even put this out to the people watching. What do you guys think the game of the week, the game to watch this week is going to be? I mean, aside from my personal team, in all honesty, I just like watching my team. I think Minshew Mania is fun. He's a fun quarterback. He's fun to watch. He's exciting. He's young. And he's just, oh man, I just love him. I think he's making the NFL a more fun, better place. In all honesty, though, I'm going to say the game to watch is probably going to be the Panthers and 49ers.
Dang it, you took mine. I agree with you, Shane. I mean, if Mahomes was in, it would definitely be the Packers and the Chiefs game. But, man, I just feel like with Christian McCaffrey and the way that he plays and how no one's found an answer for him yet and how the 49ers are undefeated, it's going to be quite a game to watch.
Without a doubt.
Who do we think is going to be just an offensive player this week who just lights it up?
An offensive player this week? Oh, Christian McCaffrey, like I said, he has been pretty dominant. I think he's going to continue to show dominance. But I will say, going up against the undefeated 49ers, I think they're going to be coming in trying to focus him primarily. So I can't say it's going to be McCaffrey. I don't want to say Brady because, in all honesty, I don't think Brady's had a phenomenal season, I think I'm going to go with Russell Wilson, probably
All
for
right.
the big player of the week for offense.
Okay, that'll be great. I'll say this, and you've already mentioned it before, but I agree as well that Russell Wilson is probably going to be the MVP this year. He's just putting on a great game, and I think he'll continue to do well in this week as well. But I'm going to say this of what I'm looking forward to if it does come to pass this week. And I'm not just saying this because it's sort of my little prayer to the fantasy football gods that this is the way it's going to be. But if Drew Brees comes back, I think he could have quite a game.
Oh, if Brees comes back, it's going to be a game changer for people in fantasy.
I mean, he's my fantasy quarterback, and it has been a long few weeks recently.
I mean, I have a few fans. I got Jared Goff and Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's on injured, and Jared Goff's been so. I was gonna grab Minshew, but somebody stole him out from underneath me. The day that he did bad too, so there's a little jinxing going on there. But in all honesty, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you got to understand, the reason I've been crying, without Drew Brees is because my other quarterback that I've had is Case Keenum.
Oh, that's rough. Oh,
the nice thing is my running back is Christian McCaffrey. So
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I have no idea how I lost. I lost this last week to a guy who had 3 people. He had 1 spot empty and 2 people playing that were in a bye week. I still lost. No idea how. I had Jared Goff. I had Alvin Kamara. I had Leonard Fournette. I had DJ Chark. I had so many good, strong players that just did bad.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's not bore anyone else too much with our fantasy football or how they're going there, because yikes, we could go on and on about that. Let's just wrap it up here. Obviously, we mentioned earlier how we're not going to have our For the Fun discussion where we talk about at the very end some little humorous topic. We're going to have that next week. As mentioned earlier, it's going to be us talking about the Madden curse. So stay tuned next week, or stay tuned. We'll talk about it next week. We're really looking forward to it. It'll be a good discussion. But last thing that we want to bring up there is our fans' vote. Please let us know in the comments in Discord what you think. What's going to be the game of the week, you think? Do you agree with our picks? Do you think that, the people who we said would be the big offensive players, are they going to be good? Who's going to be our MVP for the week? And another thing that we brought up, this is our opinion. Do you think this is the end? Do you think this is Tom Brady's last season? Let us know.
I think that is going to be one of the most fun topics to talk about. I will not say that it is his last season, but I think we are seeing the end of the Patriots. And for those who have not joined the Discord yet, there is a link down below. If you look on Twitch, right beneath the channel, there's a spot that says Discord. You can just click on that box, sign in, and it will take you right into the Discord group. You can join it, have chat with us, ask us questions. We'll try to answer as much as we can. We can't guarantee that we'll be the fastest responders, but we will answer when we can. And in all honesty, love to hear from you guys, love to see what you guys think, because we can tailor discussions towards on what everyone thinks. What's the general consensus of fans with these different polls?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Shane, this is not bad for our first episode. We've definitely managed to cover plenty of time talking about this thing.
Yeah, we even have some extra topics saved up for next week. And this is kind of going to be what the general discussion is going to be week to week. Our main podcast, we had to do it Wednesday. It's a little bit weird. We're going to be doing it on Tuesday about 7 o'clock. So about the same time we started this time, except now it's going to be on Tuesdays just because that works with our schedules best. It's right after that Monday Night Football game, which this week is going to be a little lackluster. But we will be starting that then. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this is going. I feel like this is really good. I feel like we're already starting to get some participation. And in all honesty, football's just great.
There's plenty that you can talk about there. And also special shout out to Doug. We appreciate you bringing in our our first comment that we were able to talk about in this podcast. We appreciate you. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, and guys, tell your friends about it. If you have any friends that love football, get them in here. Get them to chat in, because I want to let everyone know I am watching the chat actively right now. So I know exactly when you guys are typing in. I'm looking at this while looking at the stats, while reading off of my personal opinions. I am trying to engage with you guys, and the more that you guys bring friends in here that love football, the bigger discussion of football that you guys can have going while listening to us talk about our nonsense and our predictions. And you guys can be free to be like, whoa, these guys are dumb. Why do they think this or that or this or that? But you guys can also support us and do whatever. Like, this is here for everyone to just have a place to come, chill, and love football and sports in general.
For sure, for sure. A quick apology to Duckmaster375. Sorry, I thought Shane said your name was Doug. My bad.
It's all good. I know him pretty well. We play a football game together, and he's honestly a super awesome dude. He's been here supporting me with some of my other streams and podcasts. And all honesty, he is an awesome dude and always there to support.
Perfect, perfect. We appreciate it. All right. Well, I think we're just going to wrap it up there. This is normally the part where the Fox football theme plays on. Da-da-da-da-da-da. No, just kidding.
but
honestly,
but we do have a cool screen.
Again, thank you guys very much. Shane, thank you for helping me get this dream alive. And
I'm glad to be on this stream with you. I think this is awesome. I'm loving this. It feels natural. It feels good. In all honesty, it just makes me appreciate football and love football more. And that's why I think the biggest thing of discussing it with people, you just build your own love for the game more.
Definitely. 100%. All right. Well, we're going to sign off here because I have a Portland Trailblazers game to watch. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
All right. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. See you then. Bye.
Bye.